two worlds but belonging to neither. But I couldn't stop. If I did, Lynn's face would vanish from these streets, and I wasn't ready to let her become just another lost girl. It was at a makeshift soup kitchen, a folding table set up in an abandoned church lot, where I met Linda. She looked out of place, just like I did. Jeans a little too clean, hair pulled back tight, clutching a stack of flyers with shaking hands. The volunteers took one look at us, and maybe out of pity, poured our coffee extra hot. We stood off to the side, two islands in a sea of hard luck. She nodded at my stack of flyers. Yours missing too? I held up Lynn's picture. 4 years now. I saw her a few days ago, but she ran. Linda gave me a sad smile and showed me her own flyer. My son, Toby. He left home last year. Haven't seen him since Easter. It felt strange, talking to someone who understood the language of missing. With Linda, I didn't have to explain why my hands shook, or why I watched every teenage face that passed. She told me about calling hospitals, pestering police, sleeping in her car outside shelters. I've started to memorize the intake schedules, she admitted, rubbing her eyes. They're always full. They never know anything. We walked the streets together that afternoon, handing out flyers and trading stories. Linda about her quiet house in Bakersfield, her angry ex-husband, the birthdays that passed with empty chairs at the table. I told her about Joshua, about the guilt that ate at me when I called home, about the way my own mother had stopped asking when I'd be back. It was easier to walk with someone else. We looked out for each other, taking turns talking to people who might have news. At one point, Linda reached for my hand as a fight broke out in the street, both of us ducking into a doorway until it calmed down. We laughed, breathless, shaken, and for a second, it almost felt normal. Two mothers on a strange kind of errand. That night, we ate cheap tacos in her car and talked about the lives we used to have. Linda told me she'd started writing letters to Toby. Just in case, I write them, seal them up, and keep them in my glove box. I admitted I'd started doing the same for Lynn. We traded addresses, promised to call if either of us got news. Maybe our kids ran off together, Linda joked, forcing a smile that nearly broke my heart. Before we parted, Linda pressed her hand over mine. Don't give up, Deborah. Even if you feel like you already have. I promised her I wouldn't. And for the first time in weeks, I almost believed myself. Nights in LA left too much room for memory. Sometimes I'd lie awake on the brittle motel sheets, the sound of sirens and distant arguments leaking through the window, and my mind would travel backward, faster than I could stop it. I remembered the first time I told Lynn about the divorce. She was 11, sitting on the swing in our Tucson backyard, the Arizona sun a blinding white over her hair. I'd practiced what to say, but it came out all wrong. Your dad and I, we can't live together anymore, but we both love you. That never changes. She stared straight ahead, her hands tightening on the chains. I know what it means, she said quietly. It means Dad doesn't love you anymore. I wanted to argue, to untangle the truth, but what good would that do? The damage was already done, and kids see through lies sharper than any adult. The move to Oregon was supposed to be a new start. 4 girls and a tired mother, stuffed in a station wagon, driving north with everything we owned. I tried to make it an adventure, picked out songs for the road, planned picnics along the way, but grief hung over every mile. The girls fought more than they laughed. Lynn grew quiet and sharp around the edges, always watching me like she was waiting for me to disappear too. By the time she hit high school, I was already losing her. She changed her hair, changed her friends, stayed out late with excuses I didn't dare challenge. I told myself it was normal, that she was finding herself, but every slammed door felt like another crack in our family. Sometimes, after the younger girls went to sleep, I'd stand in the hallway and listen for Lynn's breathing, proof that she was still there, still safe. I made mistakes. I know that now. I let my anger show too often. I tried to reason with her like she was still a child, even when she'd outgrown that a long time ago. Some nights I think about every harsh word, every time I chose work or exhaustion over listening. Regret is a language I speak fluently now. Here, in the city where she vanished, the past doesn't let go. I replay the old arguments, the times I looked right at my daughter and didn't see what she needed. Maybe if I'd loved her differently, if I'd paid more attention, she'd be safe in a warm bed instead of lost in the dark. I can't change any of it. All I can do is keep searching, hoping it's not too late to find her and to find forgiveness for both of us. I used to believe in the system. Maybe not completely, but enough to think that if something terrible happened, someone in a uniform would help. In Los Angeles, that belief shriveled fast. The first time I went to the police station, I wore my cleanest shirt and tried to keep my voice steady. I waited an hour just to be seen, sitting on a plastic chair